Good morning, Facebook and YouTube and all the other people who are tuning in here. This is the morning after the worst mass shooting attack in the United States history. So overnight, last night in Las Vegas, Nevada, some psychopath, got on his balcony and he opened fire on a crowd of country music festival music goers, right? Last I heard, we have over 50 dead. I'm sure that number has risen since the last I checked in. Over 200 wounded. It's absolutely terrible. Nobody ever wants this kind of violence, ever. And I don't know how eloquent this video here is going to be, because it's off the cuff. I didn't plan on doing it, but I had to say my piece. I was flipping through Facebook, and my representative, Seth Mouton, he's my congressional representative in Washington, D.C., and this is why I'm doing it, but he's also my opponent. I'm the Libertarian candidate for Congress. And he posted some video. I did not watch it. It was a caption, though. They had a moment of silence today in D.C. in honor of the victims. Not in honor, in remembrance. Just recognition. Let's do this here for a second. 50 people, more than 50 people, died in a terrible attack last night. Okay? In Washington, D.C., they held a moment of silence to recognize the families that are torn apart, the lives that have been destroyed, and the people who have left this planet. Okay? Let's do a moment of silence real quick, just to recognize them. It's easy as that, right? How difficult is that? Our representative in Congress had to go outside, and I really don't mean to make this political, because this really shouldn't be a political thing. We should be just reflecting on the tragedy, trying to save the lives who are still literally struggling in the hospital. People are getting blood transfusions and having doctors operate them, and there's still probably triage going on. Who the hell knows? But right now, that's all actively going on. And this guy, Seth Mouton, makes a video to politicize it. He steps outside, presumably in D.C., and he says, I can't do a moment of silence right now. This isn't the time for silence. This is the time for action. This is the time to speak up and do something about it. We don't even know any circumstances. All that we know is it's a terrible tragedy. I watched some videos this morning of the actual shooting, and it sounds like a friggin' fully automatic firearm. And if anybody's going to know the difference between full auto and semi-auto, it's going to be people like me, and it's going to be people like Seth Mouton. So either he's lying about the motivations for needing to do something, or he's just ignorant and he has no idea what he's talking about. But the gist of what I could tell was his video was it's not a time for silence, it's a time for action. So he's not going to do a moment of silence, and presumably this action is, I'm assuming, gun control legislation, right? So we're talking these people are still suffering in the hospitals. They haven't been identified. We don't even know how many victims there are, and he's already alluding to gun control. If it's true, and this was a fully automatic weapon that was used, and it seems to me that it was. A lot of the people that I talked to online who observed the same videos, we all seem to agree that it was a fully automatic weapon that was used. These are already highly restricted firearms. They're next to impossible to get as a normal citizen. You have to get a special permit above and beyond, like in Massachusetts. You can have your Class A license to carry that allows you to purchase anything that Massachusetts deems is acceptable in Massachusetts, right? These fully automatic firearms are restricted from everybody for purchasing. You need to apply for a special permit with the ATF. They need to, I'm pretty sure they do yearly compliance checks. There's a whole list of things that they do in order for you to legally possess these fully automatic weapons. You cannot go to gun shows and buy these things. You cannot go to the stores and buy these things. You can probably go to the stores and try them out after paying a good amount of money, but these things are not something that the public has. All of these AR-15s, all of the real nasty things that people want to restrict, and I say nasty because that's the word that they use, they're not fully automatic. You pull the trigger once and they go boom once. The firearms that the shooter used overnight They hold the trigger down, and the bullets keep on coming. As long as there's ammunition in the magazine or the belt, or the thing jams, it'll keep on firing. And that's what he's talking about. So when it comes time to enact gun legislation, so if these things are already highly restricted and citizens for the most part really don't have them, what types of gun legislation is he going to try to push through? Is he going to restrict handguns? Is he going to restrict other types of rifles that weren't used in these attacks? I mean, like I said, I really don't mean to politicize this, but it bothers me that the guy who's representing me in Congress, it's the first thing that he did. He's basically kneeling during the national anthem, in my opinion. And take that for how you will, whatever your opinion is, but that's what he's doing by walking out of this moment of silence and going and making a stupid video outside in DC. So, I could stand here on the Boston Common in silence all day long thinking about the victims. Outwardly I'd be silent, but inside I have turmoil, and I'm thinking about, what is the right thing for society to do, and what can we do to alleviate these things. It's not a political thing. It's about like what's morally and what's morally just for society. So I appreciate you for tuning in. I really don't know how eloquent this was, and I hope I said something that reaches you today. And tag Seth Mouton in this if you want. Ciao.